Good evening. We want to welcome you to the Ogden City Council meeting for June 19th, 2012. Let the roll call reflect that all council members are present, and we will have Vice Chair Blair lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We will now have a moment of silence. Thank you. Next on the agenda is a recognition, and this is a great opportunity and a lot of hard work between Weber State University, our administration, and the city, and it's my honor to read a joint proclamation today. This joint proclamation is declaring June 28, 2012 as Damian Lillard Day in Ogden City. Whereas Damian Lillard was born on July 15, 1990 in Oakland, California, to Houston and Gina Lillard. He attended Oakland High School and was part of the first-team All-League selection in his junior and senior seasons. During his senior year, he averaged just over 28 points per game and developed into one of the best preparatory players in the greater Oakland area. And whereas Damian began attending Weber State University in 2008 and studied technical sales, he quickly established himself as a vital part of the Weber State men's basketball team. During his freshman season, he was recognized as one of the top players in the Big Sky Conference. He was unanimously selected Big Sky Freshman of the Year and was named to the All-Conference First Team, becoming the first true freshman in league history to earn first-team honors. And whereas, as a sophomore, Damian was named the 2009-2010 Big Sky Most Valuable Player and again earned first-team All-Conference honor. He received honorable mention, All-American honors, and All-District honors. He also led the Big Sky in scoring with an average of 19.9 points per game. And whereas in 2011-2012, Damian contributed to one of the greatest seasons in Weber State basketball history. This culminated as he became the first player in Big Sky history to be named an All-American team. To the All-American team. He was also named the Conference Most Valuable Player and the District 8 Player of the Year. And whereas Damian led the Wildcats to a 25-7 overall record and a 14-2 record in league play, he led the nation in scoring for most of the season, finishing second with an average of 24.5 points per game, the best single-season average in Weber State University history. He made 94 three-pointers this season, which is by far the most in Weber State University's single-season history. He finished his career ranked second on the Weber State University career scoring list with 1,934 career points, ranking fifth in Big Sky history. He is also the university's all-time leader in free throws and three-pointers, and whereas Damian has proven himself as an individual of great character, both on and off the basketball court, he has displayed hard work, perseverance, leadership, and loyalty to his team. Damian has always made an effort to reach out to those around him, particularly those in need. During his college career, he spent much of his free time volunteering with the Ogden Boys and Girls Club. And whereas we honor Damian for the extraordinary person he is and the excitement that he has brought to the Weber State men's basketball program and the community of Ogden, we are proud of his many accomplishments, which have prepared him for the NBA draft. Now, therefore, Mayor Michael P. Caldwell and the Ogden City Council do hereby declare June 28, 2012 as Damian Lillard Day in Ogden City, and we recognize Damian's extraordinary talent and excitement that he has brought to the Weber State men's basketball program and the community of Ogden. We are proud to stand with him today in the excitement of the NBA draft, and we wish him much success as he begins his significant career as a professional basketball player. And it is with great honor that I read this joint proclamation. and move that we adopt it on this day.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second from Councilmember Stevens to accept this joint proclamation. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's great. And any comments from the staff? And we do have Brady Harris here. Brady is the vice president of the Student Association at Weber State University, so we'd like to recognize him and have him come up to the podium just for a moment and just maybe say a few things.
Well, thank you. It's a privilege to be here on behalf of the Student Association. President Gardner could not make it today. He had something come up at the very last minute, so he sends his thank you to Ogden City and to Mayor Caldwell for all of your help in helping us to plan this activity and this event that we're trying to do, and to really recognize Damon for not only his success as a basketball player, but for what he gave back to Ogden City and the community here, and really helped believe here in Ogden City and what it can be. And we really respected that, and we wanted to honor him. And this is a great thing, a great collaboration between Ogden State and the university that we've tried to start. And we hope this is the beginning of a great relationship between Weber State and Ogden to really mesh the two together and work together to accomplish some great things this year. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time to do this, and I look forward to next week and to having the excitement that'll be there just downtown here. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, does he want to talk a little bit about next week and about the junction?
Yeah, next week, next Thursday, we're going to here downtown in the Junction. We've with the city and with the athletics department, we've jointly kind of put together this great event to broadcast the NBA draft live. So we're trying to get a giant projector TV that we can show it, set it up in the downtown Junction, and have it there for the community and students to come and kind of enjoy the moment and watch Damon. He's projected to be in the top 10 of the draft this year, and so we can watch him. He'll be over in New York where the draft is, and so we can watch him on TV, watch him get drafted, and just kind of share that excitement together as a community and as Weber State. So the Megaplex Theaters agreed to let us use some of their space and they'll be broadcasting the draft in one of their theaters as well. So we'll have we plan to have a giant celebration, just have a lot of vendors and a lot of excitement down there to celebrate the occasion. So,
Great.
any other questions?
We look forward to it. It sounds very exciting.
Yeah, it'll be great. We're excited. I mean, we usually don't do anything much over the summer as a student association, but this was important enough to us that we've kind of brought in a lot of people over the summer to really make this happen. And we're excited. So thank you.
Thank you. I believe Mr. Bovey, Weber State's athletic director, just walked in. Do you have anything you'd like to share?
It's just along the same lines. We tried to get Damien on a Skype today, but he's in transit from working out with a lot of teams. I did talk with him on the phone about 20 minutes ago, and he wanted me to convey his gratitude. He's really humbled by this. This is a kid, as you all know, that you've seen him play, that's got his head on his shoulders, and this means the world to him to have the support of this community. Everywhere he goes right now, he's mentioning where he grew up and where he got his education. It's been great for Ogden. It's been great for Weber State, and he's very grateful for this honor. So look forward to a great day and appreciate your support.
Thank you, Jerry. Just a few other comments, too. We're really excited for everything that's going to happen downtown. The mayor and the city council together will be presenting the proclamation officially to the Weber State group on June 28th, and then we'll view the draft with ESPN there on the big screens that was mentioned, and Damian Lillard memorabilia and other things will be there for raffles and other things, and there's some wristbands that the local businesses are helping to support and encourage people to come downtown and visit the local businesses right after this too. So I think this is a wonderful opportunity for us to celebrate this great kid.
Mr. Chair, I think Mayor Caldwell might have a comment or two.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Bill. It's been a pleasure to work with the athletic department on this. They've brought a full court press to this, pardon the pun, and so has the Student Association. We're thrilled to have you guys downtown. I'm happy to see Brandon Cooper and Carolyn Brierley wearing the colors of Weber State tonight. Yeah, you got the memo. So we're excited about this. We think it's a great partnership and a really unique high water mark for Weber State athletics in our community. So we're really thrilled to participate with this, and we appreciate everything you guys have done. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. We look forward to June 28th. Next on the agenda is approval of minutes. First is the minutes of the work session of March 20th, 2012. Councilmember Van Huzer.
Chair Garner, these are correct as I've reviewed them.
Okay. And the minutes of the work session of April 17th, 2012. Councilmember Stevens.
Yes, Mr. Chair, they're correct.
And the minutes of the regular meeting of April 17th, 2012, and the work session of May 1st, 2012. Councilmember Heyer.
Yes, Chair Garner, I've found no errors.
Okay. And the minutes of the work session of May 10th, 2012. Councilmember Wicks.
Thank you. I've reviewed those and found them to be correct and would make a motion that we approve the minutes outlined in items A, B, C, and D.
I'll second it.
We have a motion from Councilmember Wicks and a second from Councilmember Van Huzer to approve the minutes under A, B, C, and D. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. These minutes are approved. Next is a common consent. First is to re-accept for review the West Ogden annexation and certification, proposed ordinance 2012-14, and the other is to re-accept for review Giles subdivision annexation and certification, proposed ordinance 2012-15. And these are to re-accept these petitions for review. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, you need a motion first.
Oh, yes, I need a motion.
I will make a motion that we accept for a review, re-accept for review the items on common consent.
I'll second it.
We have a motion from Vice Chair Blair and a second from Councilmember Van Huzer. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next on the agenda is appointments. First is the Board of Building and Fire Code Appeals. Consideration of the appointment of Greg Chamberlain and the reappointment of Joseph Bauman, Raymond Bertoldi, Steve Keir, and Martin Reese to the Board of Building and Fire Code Appeals. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I will move that we accept these nominations for the fire code, for the building and fire code appeals.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Van Huzer and a second from Vice Chair Blair to approve these appointments and reappointments. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next is Planning Commission. Consideration of the reappointments of Kathy Blaisdell, Lily Holman, and Rick Southwick to the Planning Commission.
Chair Garner, I would move that we approve this reappointment of those mentioned.
I second it.
We have a motion from Councilmember Heyer and a second from Councilmember Stevens to approve these reappointments. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. These appointments and reappointments are approved. Next is reports from the administration. Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Arrington will be handling both these items tonight.
Chair Garner, members of the council, before you tonight is a request to adopt an ordinance modifying the CIP plan by amending project RM003, which is the Adventure Park. The modification just extends this park, and it is consistent with the Ogden River redevelopment project area and has previously, as the initial project, been reviewed by the Planning Commission. So it's our recommendation that you adopt this change to the CIP plan.
Any questions for Mr. Arrington? Okay. And we'll receive public input on this capital improvement plan amendment. Okay, no input, further discussion? Okay. Motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt proposed ordinance 2012-37, modifying the fiscal FY 2013-2017 capital improvement plan.
I'll second it.
We have a motion from Vice Chair Blair and a second from Councilmember Heyer to adopt ordinance 2012-37. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Gochner?
Aye.
Councilmember Heyer?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Councilmember Van Hoosier?
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks?
Aye.
Vice Chair Blair?
Aye.
Chair Garner?
Aye. This passes. And next is the interfund loan for water treatment plant.
Yes, before you again tonight is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a $1 million interfund loan between the sewer fund to the water utility fund to expedite the planning phase of the water treatment plant reconstruction. And your approval would allow the mayor to execute that note, and then we could move forward with the plan.
Any questions for Mr. Arrington?
Mr. Arrington, can you review how that loan would be paid off?
The plan is for it to be paid off in 2 years, could be paid off earlier than that. The funding for that is anticipated to come from bonding for the water treatment plant. That bonding proposal will include the planning phase, and this $1 million loan just starts the planning phase earlier. So when the bond is done, construction can begin and pay back this loan.
Do we know the interest rate on this loan?
Interest rate is programmed at 1% above the state funding rate, which is the standard practice the city's used for funding interfund loans in the city.
Are there questions for Mr. Arrington? Okay. We'll now receive public input regarding the interfund loan for water treatment plant. Seems there's no public input. Further discussion?
Chair Garner, concerning the resolution 2012-16, I would move that we adopt that resolution.
I'll second it.
We have a motion from Councilmember Heyer and a second from Councilmember Van Hoosier to adopt proposed resolution 2012-16. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Heyer?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Councilmember Van Hoosier?
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks?
Aye.
Councilmember Gochner?
Aye.
Vice Chair Blair?
Aye.
Chair Garner?
Aye. This passes. Thank you. Next on the agenda is public hearing, and I think Mr. Cook will be presenting items A, B, and C for us.
Thank you, council members, Mayor Caldwell, Mr. Johnson. It's my privilege tonight to present the summary of the fiscal year 2013 budget. These are the recommendations that you and many others have been involved in terms of assessing and evaluating all of the programs of the city to determine what the budget will be. The council previously has established some overarching goals that are continued throughout this budget as a filter. Those have been published before and will be again. Also this year, council has identified 11 legislative projects that will be your primary focus for your policy-making responsibilities. We have a summary of that that's available for all that are here in a document that actually has been published and is available in the foyer. This particular document, the budget, is a major policy document for you as a council. It includes many dimensions adopted by ordinance with a number of schedules. make lots of decisions regarding all the services that are provided, the level of service, and how best to accommodate the needs of our citizens, and also how our employees will be compensated. Would like to recognize all that have been involved in the process. Many hours are invested throughout this process. We appreciate all. The city budget, the proposal was $141 million approximately. There was an increase for the tentative budget, which has been the first time the council's made changes to the tentative budget prior to adoption, approximately a 5% increase. That was adopted previously. Now the recommended budget is a slight increase over that, 0.4%, total of $149.5 million approximately. The total, including the redevelopment agency and the municipal building authority, the proposal was $163 million. The tentative budget increased it to $170 million, and the recommended budget is $171.5 million. The process this year for wage and benefit discussions did include a work session with the 3 employee groups, and there was discussion with council leadership as well. The communication's been beneficial. We appreciate those groups for contributing. The salary schedule that's proposed tonight, you have a public hearing on, includes no pay for performance salary increases. It does include a 1% bonus for all full-time positions, and there's an exception to that. It does not include department directors or elected officials. There are retirement cost increases which are included in this budget. There is a total of 7% increase on the health insurance costs. 4% of those will be paid for by the city, the rest by the employees. The benchmark adjustments were applied this year to all positions, and there were 14 changes in classification ranges. 14 positions eliminated, 13 positions added. And you've reviewed all those in detail. In terms of the BDO lease revenues and other available capital funds, there are 15 projects being recommended, approximately $2.8 million. There are quite a number of projects and quite a variety of projects, including sidewalks, general funding for sidewalks, curb, gutter, and sidewalk. 2 specific projects were added by the council, funding for the Canyon Road and the Old Post Road sidewalk school projects. In the community plans, there has been focus regarding capital projects in the community plans this year, fully funding and renovating the 4th Street recreation facility, which is a significant project. Also of significance, the Ron Clare Park restroom and pavilion, both will be renovated. Other parks and recreation, funding for replacement of the Mount Ogden Golf Course cart paths, upgrades to the Lauren Farr Pavilion, and changes at the Bonneville Park and the High Adventure Park. There were some other projects which include replacement of the Union Station boiler, land purchase for the fire station, number 3, Justice Court roof repair, street construction, fleet replacement, additional funding for the mobile apps program, and there was also replenishment of the critical project contingency. There were some expenditures in that this past year. There are some unappropriated funds, $416,000, which will be made available for future projects, which includes the demolition by neglect program that you'll be considering later this year, and then any other future projects that may be appropriate or urgent. Revenues are included from the utility fee increases for water, sewer, and storm sewer. Those were approved May 22nd of this year. Also, there's a consumer price index increase of 2.8%, and that's been included for all utilities, which includes the refuse fund. All the revenue estimates for the taxes, fees, fines, transfers, et cetera, are recommended to be approved in this budget. The proposed final budget modifies the tentative budget, which you previously approved, and those details for changes are in Schedule A and Schedule A1. There are a total of 29 changes. The net impact is $635,000. There are 3 ordinances that you're considering tonight: the adoption of the merit, non-merit services amendments, also the adoption of the salary schedule, and then the adoption of the fiscal year 2013 budget as amended. And there are several schedules that are attached. All the changes, as I mentioned, by the City Council. The personnel schedule, which establishes the number of full-time equivalents. The council budget message, all of the legislative intents for the coming year, and the financial principles as well are included. That's an overview of the recommended budget. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have, if you have any before the public hearing. Thank you very much. We certainly appreciate all of your effort.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. So this is a public hearing, and first is the merit and non-merit service provisions, proposed ordinance 2012-32. There's any public comment regarding the merit and non-merit?
Mr. Chair, I move to close the public hearing.
Second it.
Motion from Councilmember Heyer and a second from Councilmember Van Huzer to close the public hearing regarding the merit and non-merit services program. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, then, is a motion to adopt 2012-32.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Heyer and a second from Councilman or Vice Chair Blair on the merit or to adopt proposed ordinance 2012-32. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Councilmember Van Huzer?
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks?
Aye.
Councilmember Gochner?
Aye.
Councilmember Heyer?
Aye.
Vice Chair Blair?
Aye.
Chair Garner?
Aye. Thank you. This passes. Next is a public hearing regarding the salary schedules. This is proposed ordinance 2012-31. And any public want to comment on this one?
Seeing none, I'll move we close the public hearing.
We have a motion from Councilmember Wicks and a second from Councilmember Heyer to close the public hearing regarding the salary schedules. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, any further discussion?
Chair Garner, I move that we accept the salary schedule or proposed ordinance 2012-13.
I second it.
31.
That's 31.
31, I'm sorry.
Okay. And we have a motion from Councilmember Van Huzer and a second from Councilmember Stevens to adopt proposed ordinance 2012-31. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Van Huzer?
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks?
Aye.
Councilmember Gochner?
Aye.
Councilmember Heyer?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Vice Chair Blair?
Aye.
Chair Garner?
Aye. This passes. Next is the fiscal year 2013 city budget, proposed ordinance 2012-36. This is a public hearing, so we'll accept public input at this time regarding the budget. Okay.
Mr. Chair, move to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
Motion from Councilmember Heyer and a second from Councilmember Wicks to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And further comments? And I think that also the mayor would like to comment on this one.
I would. I'll first I'd like to thank staff and city council. This has been a unique process. This was my first bite at the budget apple, and I was really impressed with how committed everybody was to this process. We put everything on the table. We had a number of unique challenges, and I think through those challenges, we're able to create, I think, a conservative and very responsible budget for the community. When we're asking people to do far more with less these days, it requires all the experts and their expertise in those fields to bring that to bear, and I really felt that we did that. And again, I want to thank everybody for that. A couple of key things we're really proud of. I'm really proud of the fact we were able to save on some of the projects and provide a 1% bonus to employees and preserve positions. I met with the Weber County Commissioners 2 days ago, and they had some of the same hand-wringing we've had. No increases to their employees for 4 years. This has been an extremely difficult cycle for everybody to get through, and we're real proud to preserve positions and be able to provide a little bonus. Hopefully this economic environment will turn and we'll be able to start bringing more into our employees' families and into their homes. They do a great job for us, and that was a good little bonus, and we all felt great about being able to give them at least something. Many communities weren't able to do that at all. Insurance increases, they started at a very high level. We negotiated those, so I think it was much more palatable. That was a tough, I know, process that our guys were very committed to. Retirement increases were also a huge challenge. I think we were able to find a way to do that. And at the end of the day, we were all real happy to be able to address some very key aging fleet issues, some of the golf course issues, and with the daughters in local elementary schools here, I was happy to see some school sidewalk issues be able to be funded as well. Those are all important things. And I think, as I mentioned, I believe given the challenges we face, this is a very conservative and responsible budget, and I really do appreciate staff and all of the department heads that worked so hard at this. So thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Further discussion from council members? Okay. Motion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'll move that we approve the proposed ordinance 2012-36.
I'll second it.
We have a motion from Councilmember Heyer and a second from Vice Chair Blair to adopt proposed ordinance 2012-36. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Wicks?
Aye.
Councilmember Gochner?
Aye.
Councilmember Heyer?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Councilmember Van Hoosier?
Aye.
Vice Chair Blair?
Aye.
Chair Garner?
Aye. This passes. And I'd also like to echo some of the things that the mayor has said. This was, very time-consuming, a lot of hard work, and there are a lot of good people in the city that put a lot of hard work into this. And especially would like to thank Mr. Arrington for all of your work on this. You've had many budgets that you've worked on, and we will miss you and wish you the best in your future endeavors. And next on the agenda is new business, and Mr. Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. From time to time, the council amends the council norms. During the goal-setting process this past year, there was discussion from the council to modify the norms to reflect changes in the council vision, values, and guiding principles. Those have all now been incorporated and are recommended for your approval. There are a couple of other changes, one regarding time-sensitive situations for setting the agenda and how to accomplish that. Also, a change for iPad applications allowing personal use under certain circumstances by the council and council staff. Those are the proposed changes, and would be happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions for Mr. Cook? Further discussion? Okay. Motion?
Make a motion, we accept proposed resolution 2012-17.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Stevens and a second from Councilmember Heyer to adopt proposed resolution 2012-17. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Gochner?
Aye.
Councilmember Heyer?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Councilmember Van Hoosier?
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks,
Aye.
Vice Chair Blair,
Aye.
Chair Garner.
Aye. This passes. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Cook, for your hard work on this for us and all of your staff. Next is public comments. This is an opportunity to address the council regarding your concerns or ideas. Please state your name for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes. In this form of government, all city personnel are the responsibility of the administration, not of the council. Please discuss any concerns you may have regarding staff with the mayor, chief administrative officer, or department directors. Any public comments? Okay, comments from administration.
I have nothing else at this time. Thank you.
And council staff?
No, thank you. I think I've said enough for tonight.
Okay. And council members?
I have something. I'd just like to thank our council staff and my fellow council members, as well as especially Mr. Arrington and all of our department directors that worked so hard on the budget. It's never easy, and it is a lot of time, and I just appreciate all of the work that people put into it, and especially would like to thank Mr. Arrington for all of his hard work over the years to help us with various budget issues. So thank you.
I also would like to echo that same sentiment. This was my first crack at the budget apple this year as well, and real education from all of the department heads and the different issues that have come that end up needing to be addressed in the budget have been very enlightening to me, and all these things deal with real people and real people's lives, and we've striven to make sure that quality of life stays good and that people are as happy as possible, and hopefully we've done that. But it took a lot of work from a lot of other people, and I want to thank those people. And I also, just a short time I've known you, John, I've grown to really appreciate you, admire you, and respect you, and we're going to miss you. Our best to you in your future.
I think going with John goes a lot of our history. And I think we'll probably be asking you for some of that history in the future because you've been here longer than probably everybody sitting here. I mean, I know you have been, obviously, but I just think it's important that you know how valued you are. And we commend you for all you've done. And thank you.
Cell phones don't work on the river, Susie.
Yeah.
I think the budget process is an eye-opener to those who are on the council for the first time and those who have the experience for the first time. But we do have individuals within the city organization and our council staff that makes it much easier for us to cope with this process. And we do it every year. It's a big deal for us because we have to balance the budget. But I believe our council staff does an excellent job in preparing us. I imagine probably the rate study probably prepared us more for the long meetings that we have, but I believe Mayor Caldwell added a great deal to our ability to balance the budget, and also Mark Johnson in keeping us informed of what our revenues are and what our expenses are, and that's a great help to us. And we can't overlook what value John Arrington has to us. He understands what the finances are of a city, and we can rely on him because he will honestly tell us exactly the information that we need. And as council, we've asked him many questions. But I think the cornerstone of our budget is that it's a responsible budget. It's responsible to the citizens of the city. It's responsible to the needs of the city, but also it's responsible to being able to develop our city so that we can continue to grow and progress. And I think that's the keystone foundation of the budget this year. We don't have a lot of money to work with, but we are responsible for those funds that we have. And I believe that's the earmark. If I had to pick one word for the budget, it would be it's responsible. And I appreciate my fellow council members for their insight into the budget, because they realize the importance of having a responsible budget. But the challenge we have is that we have to balance the budget. The federal government doesn't have to do that, but we have to do that, and that's a real challenge in itself, so I appreciate that.
I'll throw my 2 cents in and concur with everything that's been said. Thanks to everybody that assisted with the budget. And I think it's important to note that the council was in agreement on all the funding issues. So I thought that was very healthy. And I'm happy that we're funding numerous items that will be adding to the quality of life for our citizens. So thank you.
I'd like to just add a couple more things. I'd like to thank our representative from Weber State for coming down and for the work that they did to kind of include us in this great event. And it's been fun to work with you, and we're excited to maybe move forward and do more with that. Something else that's coming up is this Saturday and Sunday is the archery finals, a free event here at Lindquist Field, and I would encourage everyone to go down and try to see that. These are Olympians making their final stop and making their final preparations for the Olympics. So that's a great opportunity for the citizens here in Ogden. And my thoughts on the budget, I think have all been previously mentioned, but I would just like to say that I do believe that we do have a very responsible budget, and a budget that I'm proud to put my name or put my stamp on. I think we addressed some very serious issues. Some were safety issues, some were our employees' needs, and some items of the city we were able to beautify and enhance. And I think that's what that's what I'm most proud of, is we looked at areas, and the areas that we thought were problems we were able to fix, able to address, and some areas that draw high crowds and bring others to the city, we were able to beautify and enhance those and make those even more appealing to those outsiders. And I'm also, anytime we can add safety to those little ones walking to and from school, or even our citizens just walking, I think those are great things. And I'm also excited that we can look for and move forward with a new fire station. They do a lot of good work, and I'm glad that we can support them. So those were my thoughts. And
Thank you. I'm going to echo pretty much everything that's been said and just touch on just a couple other things. The archery did start today out at the Weber County Fairgrounds for the preliminaries, so you can go out and watch some of that. But again, please come down. What a wonderful opportunity to interact with these great athletes from around the world. And I think there's over 20 countries or something like that that's represented, so it's a great opportunity. And also, I want to thank all the council staff, the city administration, city staff, and especially the council members. We've asked a lot of hard questions and even had a lot of great discussion among ourselves regarding this budget, and it's been healthy. And this council is working well together, and it's an honor to work with them and to understand the things that we have to do. As Councilmember Heyer mentioned, we are discussing the needs of our citizens of this great city. And many of these things that we proposed this year were focused on safety, and I appreciate that, and thank everybody for their hard work. Thank you. Next on the agenda is consideration of adjourning into a closed executive session. Mr. Williams.
Mr. Chair, a closed executive session is permissible for the purposes set forth on the agenda.
Okay.
Chair, I move that we go into a closed executive session.
I second it.
We have a motion from Councilmember Heyer and a second from Councilmember Stevens to adjourn into a closed executive session. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Heyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Councilmember Van Hoosier.
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks. Councilmember Gochner.
Aye.
Vice Chair Blair.
aye.
Chair Garner.
Thank you. And there will be a city council work session officially following this meeting and an RDA work session. We'll adjourn from there. Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Thank you.